A first-year student of a prestigious university vanished from the parking lot while her car strangely was still open. The police did not investigate the case, thinking that the girl had simply run away, but her parents and friends understood that something terrible had happened. For 12 years, this mystery remained unsolved, and only after all this time the truth surfaced. In this video, we will tell you what happened to Shannon Melendi. Shannon Melendi was an extraordinary young woman. Growing up, she excelled in her studies and participated in various clubs and activities. In high school, Shannon's passion for politics and law led her to participate in special training programs, including delivering speeches at the U.S. Congress and the United Nations General Assembly. Shannon enrolled at Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia, with her sights set on the Supreme Court. Despite being offered a generous grant and settling into university life, Shannon took on a part-time job at a nearby softball field. One fateful day in 1994, Shannon went to work her shift, but she never returned. Concerned for her well-being, her friends searched for her and discovered a shocking discovery. Shannon's friends found her car at a gas station near the stadium, with the doors unlocked and the keys still inside. This baffling scene only heightened their worries. Shannon was incredibly attached to her car and would never leave it unattended, let alone with the doors open and the keys in the ignition. Alarmed by the situation, Shannon's friends contacted the police, hoping for a thorough investigation. But to their disappointment, the police brushed off the case, believing Shannon had simply run away. They overlooked critical evidence, such as fingerprints and DNA samples, and advised Shannon's friends to dismiss their concerns. However, Shannon's parents were determined to find their daughter and sought help from influential figures, including former President Jimmy Carter and Senator Bob Graham. With their support, the FBI finally became involved in the case. Shannon's parents took matters into their own hands, organizing search efforts and distributing thousands of flyers. Months passed, and the investigation seemed to reach a dead end. But then, a chilling phone call changed everything. An unidentified man called the police hotline, claiming that Shannon's reported clothing color was incorrect. He ominously revealed that he had Shannon and would keep her as long as he pleased. But why wasn't this call given the attention it deserved? Law enforcement still clung to the belief that Shannon had run away. It wasn't until a second call was made that the investigation took a significant turn. This time, the man called the university's counseling center, stating that Shannon was with him and that she was safe. He even promised to call again to make his demands for her return. The FBI quickly traced the call to a payphone near a Burger King restaurant in suburban Atlanta. Detectives rushed to the location and discovered Shannon's ring, confirming her connection to the caller. The news relieved Shannon's parents, knowing she was alive. The case took a dramatic turn as law enforcement finally reclassified it as a kidnapping. A new lead detective was appointed, and he immediately recognized the mistakes made by his predecessors. The detective began by focusing on the softball field where Shannon was last seen. However, several weeks had passed, and the chances of finding substantial evidence seemed slim. But to their surprise, witnesses at the championship game pointed out an odd behavior. Calvin Hinton, the referee known as Butch. He seemed distracted and excessively interested in Shannon throughout the game. The investigation dug deeper into Butch's background, revealing a suspicious pattern. His co-workers recalled him requesting a substitute for the game, claiming he had a date. However, everyone knew he was married. Butch also made peculiar remarks about his car's location when he had just arrived at the stadium. These details raised red flags for the detectives. Butch was questioned by investigators but denied any involvement in Shannon's disappearance. Despite his denial, the evidence continued to mount against him. He failed a polygraph test, and further examination of his car revealed a piece of duct tape matching the one used to wrap Shannon's ring. Additionally, experts discovered traces of a metal compound used in the aviation industry. The pieces were coming together, painting a disturbing picture. Butch's criminal history, including attempted assaults and a previous kidnapping, revealed a dark side. Detectives searched Butch's property and made a chilling discovery. Buried under the soil were dozens of women's clothing, shoes, and even scorecards from the softball field. Though these items did not belong to Shannon, they hinted at the possibility of other victims. As the investigation unfolded, the police faced a daunting challenge, proving Butch's guilt without a body. Despite the circumstantial evidence pointing to his involvement, it was an uphill battle. But their persistence paid off when several inmates were willing to testify against Butch. They had overheard him mentioning Shannon's murder and his plans for disposing of her body. Armed with this new testimony and the accumulated evidence, the case finally went to trial. Butch maintained his innocence, but the jury deliberated for days before delivering a verdict. In the end, they found him guilty of murder. Butch was sentenced to life in prison, providing some solace to Shannon's parents. However, the question remains, what about the other buried belongings found on Butch's property? Were there other victims? It's a haunting question that still lingers. Detectives and investigators have delved deep into Butch's past, searching for any possible links to unsolved cases. Today, Shannon's parents continue their fight to ensure that Butch never walks free again. They refuse to let their daughter's memory be forgotten and are dedicated to seeking justice for her and any other potential victims. As for Butch, he remains behind bars, and his next chance for parole is a few years away. As we conclude this mind-boggling story, we can't help but reflect on the countless cases of missing persons where answers remain elusive. Each represents a family's pain and a mystery waiting to be unraveled. If you found this story as intriguing as we did, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our community.